Good. Wonderful. I think we're all ready to start. Lovely. I've got the notification that our Zoom is all working and that our Facebook Live has started. So thank you everyone so much for joining and taking time out of your day, out of your evening to come and join this discussion. It is a fantastic event that we host monthly, and we have some unbelievable speakers that I am so excited to have on this call, more than normal. So for anyone who's new, we are Open Dialogues International Foundation. We create a monthly webinar space for people to have a chance to communicate, to discuss, to have a dialogue on various social and environmental and climate-related issues. This month's topic is really, really important. We'll be focusing on the issue of water sustainability and water resilience more specifically. All across the world, as I'm sure you all know, and I will sound like a broken record, we are seeing intensified droughts, floods, disease. If I could just ask everyone to stay on mute, that would be fantastic. And then we won't get interference across microphones. So thank you so much. Wonderful. As I was saying, we are increasingly seeing various shocking examples of water insecurity and poor resource management and poor resource availability all across the world. And this is and has already become a key global challenge for many, many years. But as with everything climate related, it is intensifying even in the past few months. We're focusing today's conversation on how communities can work together to understand the importance of water resilience and water sources. We're also going to be chatting a bit more in the dialogue section about what we can do as individuals, as organisations, as representatives for policymakers to protect water resources and to build more long-term solutions. So thank you all for joining. This isn't a topic we've covered before on our DialogueON, so we're really excited to broach into this new field. Just to give you also a rundown of how the event's going to work, we're going to have our first speaker, Ruby Lang. You'll see her on the screen here. I'm going to introduce her. She's going to give her presentation. I'm then going to hand over to Alex Herlin, who's also on the call here. She will give her comments, and then we will open up the second half of the event for dialogues, for comments, for practical experiences that your organisation or you yourself are working with. So please keep any comments in your brain ready for the dialogue section. Please share them on the chat in advance if you think that you want to share them at that moment. But please don't worry, we will have a chance to come to everyone, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. So without further ado, as I said, our first speaker here is Ruby. She is a water resource engineer who works on water systems, planning, drought resilience, and compliance for communities across the Western US. She focuses specifically on helping prepare systems for uncertainty, where to invest, and how to ensure reliable water systems in a changing climate and in these changing environments that we're seeing. She is particularly focusing on resilience and stewardship, which I think is a really interesting topic when we think of water resilience, water sustainability, and looking at where engineering meets then lived experiences, practical solutions, practical and past historical experiences with water solutions. So without further ado, here you are, Ruby. The floor is yours, and I will let you know when your slides are looking all good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction, Naomi. Okay, let me pull up and steal the screen. And then need to present it.
Perfect. All looking good.
Okay, wonderful. Is it still looking good? I just adjusted something. So.
Yes, it's perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for being here, and thanks, Naomi, for that incredible introduction. I was going to say some things, but you covered it all. Mostly just want to say that I'm coming to this talk through the lens of the water planning side of things. So I care really deeply about climate and ocean health and the broader connection between water, people, and ecosystems that we all depend on. So I'm going to talk about water sustainability from that perspective, not just what climate change might do to our water systems, but hopefully what we can do to help those systems itself. And I'm going to bring in a lot of hope into it because I think sometimes it's a little doomsday conversation. So hope for water security, in my opinion, isn't optimism. It's part of the plan. So let's get started. All right. So, like I mentioned, most conversations about climate change start with a forecast and end with really scary and uncertain views of the future, or just a lot of dread. How much hotter will it get? How much will rainfall change? How severe will droughts become? And so on. And those factors all matter, and they help us understand the risks ahead. They help us emulate how important this issue is and demands attention to make sure that we're getting through it. But there's a problem with talking about the future in this way only. Eventually, all of those projections can start to sound like a list of things happening to us: more drought, more heat, more wildfires, and less predictable water supply. And if all we hear is what the future might do to us, it's very easy to feel powerless. And when we feel powerless, it's incredibly hard to feel like we can do anything other than let the future just roll over us. So, what I want to talk about today is what happens when we stop treating the future as something we're waiting for and start treating it as something that we can plan for. Because that's what I and so many others do in water resource engineering and specifically in the planning. But we look forward and try to see the future and come up with ways that we can prepare for the challenges that we're going to face. And in that, I see a lot of room for hope in this mindset. And again, hope is not pretending that the crisis is smaller, but it's building a plan for an emergency before it happens and giving us agency to do so. And yeah, we may not know exactly what the future looks like, but that doesn't mean that we have to wait for it to arrive. So a little bit more about what I do as an engineer and a planner is I look at the past in order to predict the future and make sure that systems are up and running in the way that we need it to be. So a lot of the technical thinking behind this talk comes from a recent guidebook published by the American Water Works Association with Carollo engineers, and it's written for water professionals like myself to try to answer a really practical question: how do we plan for the future water demand when climate change is making the future a lot less predictable? So, like I mentioned, traditionally, we rely heavily on the past events for a community if we're planning for their water, such as historical rainfall and storm flows, water use and population growth, and droughts that have been experienced in that area before. And we use those things to help us understand what communities may need decades into the future. And historically, that's made a lot of sense. But climate change unsettles a lot of that and makes those assumptions a little bit trickier to just follow linearly. Hot conditions can increase water demand, for example, or longer and more intense droughts can really reduce the water supply that a city might be projected to have. So the question becomes, what happens when the future no longer behaves quite like the past? Looking backward is no longer enough. So climate change gives us a bunch of different options in the future. And like I said, planning around one future is comfortable. Population grows by X, rainfall decreases by Y, and the demand increases by Z. That sounds great. However, climate planning increasingly looks a lot more like this. We might have a dry, hot area. We might have a hotter, but it's more wet area. There might be longer droughts or wildfires or other things associated. And the wild thing about climate change is we might have all of these become true, or a few of them, or some of them. And so there's not one single future setting that we can really plan for. So instead of asking the question, what will happen, we need to ask what could happen. And that sounds like a small difference, but it completely changes how we plan things. And that's where having some anxiety and excitement for asking a ton of questions makes you really good at this, which I luckily have. Um, so a lot of my job is asking the big what if questions. What if summers become hotter? What if drought lasts longer? What if rainfall becomes more extreme? What if population grows faster than expected? And what if demand rises? All of those can feel a little bit daunting, but I also get to ask the fun questions that are, what if conservation improves? And what if we reuse more of our water? What if cities become more efficient? And what if technology changes the demand for the better? What if communities just make different choices? This is the scenario planning. So this is just walking through what I get to do all the time for my job. We get to test multiple plausible futures instead of betting everything on one forecast. And then we ask, what I think is the most important question in resilience planning is what decisions work across multiple of these or all of them? Because we're no longer trying to predict a winning future, we're looking for actions that leave us with a bunch of options. Because if we have a bunch of options, we have a really resilient water supply. So those can look different from community to community and different regions or countries. Sometimes conservation can be a really important thing. Watershed protection might also be an important thing, or maybe all of these can be helpful. But the goal, again, isn't to build just build every possible project, and it isn't to prepare every imaginable disaster. The goal is to understand Oh, the goal is to understand where the system is valuable and vulnerable, and those decisions help us make sure that the water system is secure for the future. And that is what resilience planning means to me. So it's not predicting the future perfectly, but it's giving ourselves options for the future, not to just surprise us. And I wanted to provide a quick example of what that can look like. So some climate pressures can produce very different outcomes depending on how the community plans for it beforehand. So as an example, if we have a hotter, drier future in this area that we're looking at, if we don't do anything and we keep going on that linear path, there's more than likely going to be higher stress on that water system. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of right now. We're surprised by these really large drought events and we don't quite have the infrastructure put into them. But if we start planning for that becoming more of our normal, unfortunately, and moving forward, we can reduce some of our demand and help get more reliability by having more storage and diversifying our supply and so on. So we can build that preparation. And planning doesn't remove the uncertainty, but it gives us way more ways to respond to it. And so just again, there are some things that we can't quite control, especially right now. We have drought, we have more heat and flooding and wildfire and all of those other things. But some parts of the future are conditions that we actually have the choice to make. So what infrastructure are we going to invest in? How are our cities going to grow? Where are we going to reuse water or conserve water? And what policies can we support this development? Water sustainability lives within the relationship of what's going to happen and the choices that we get to make. And the exciting thing is all of you can be involved even if you're not an engineer. The work can't be done only by engineers or only by utilities or only by governments or organizations. The public isn't outside of the water system. You are part of the water system. If you're an architect or a designer, the places that you create have water demands. If you're a business or an organization, those all depend somewhere within the supplier operations on water. If you're in government, you can help determine whether communities invest before or after a crisis. If you're an educator or a communicator, you get to help determine whether people understand these choices. And as community members as a whole, we all get to influence what kind of infrastructure, conservation programs, and policies are possible. You don't need to understand a climate model to participate in one because you're already there. You just have to be able to ask, where does my water come from? What risks are my community preparing for? What happens during a drought? What investments are we making for the next generation? And so on. And what future choices are we doing to help create the future we want to see? Because again, water doesn't exist in a silo, and none of these systems exist in isolation. Rivers connect to groundwater, and everything eventually ends to the ocean and then cycles back around. I love the water cycle. I'm a huge nerd for it. So the choices that we make about water use and pollution, infrastructure, climate adaptation, and so on, they don't just stop at a city boundary or a country's boundary or the shoreline. Healthy oceans are part of the same water and climate story, just as much as a river or rain as it falls, which means water sustainability can't really be solved in silos either. So we all have to work together on that. It's not just a government versus communities thing, it's everyone. And that's where I want to end because yes, we can have really scary projections for climate change and it can be really frightening. And hope shouldn't mean pretending otherwise. But to me, optimism and just being a little bit overly hopeful in the optimistic standpoint means I think everything will work out. and it ignores the problem. But hope itself, I think, means I believe that there's something worth doing here, and so I'm going to help build it. That is what planning gives us. It gives us agency, options, choices that we can make before a crisis. Scientists can help us understand possible futures. Engineers like myself can help model and find infrastructure solutions. Utilities can manage systems. Governments can create policy. Communities can shape priorities, but none of this can happen without us all building resilience together. Resilience happens when we have science, planning, policy, and people moving together in one force. We may never perfectly predict our water future, but we don't need a perfect forecast to start preparing for it. So I'll end here as we can move into Alex's presentation and get some more info. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruby. I can see so many people across the screen sharing applause responses, including myself. And I'm going to tell you a little insight that's never happened before for another speaker. So credit where credit is due. Thank you so much for your presentation. I think you make a number of excellent points that I'm really excited for us to pick up on later in the dialogue. I think I really liked the push of your whole talk where sometimes the doom and gloom leads to an abdication of responsibility and a not my problem attitude, or even at the level of ignorance. And I think sometimes that makes us, that reinforces that doom and gloom narrative, but it also makes it, say, the government's problem or the policymaker's problem or the engineer's problem. And from your presentation, I've now decided that would quite like to be a water engineer, because I think that was a field of the water system and water operations environment that I didn't know existed. So thank you so much for your presentation. I am so excited to come back to the points you mentioned, as I said. I'm now going to pass over to Alex to kind of give her comments and some follow-ups on this topic as well. So Alex is a student of Global Sustainable Development at the University of Warwick in the UK. She focuses on the intersection of economic, social, and environmental sustainability factors, so perfectly placed for this conversation. She also supports ODIF through our partnerships, outreach, and communications work. And she's particularly passionate about engaging in long-term water solutions. So we're really excited to hear her comments. Alex, over to you when you have a minute.
Hi, my name's Alexandra. Thank you for the introduction, Naomi. And thank you so much, Ruby, for your presentation. That was a big inspiration for mine as well. On top of a module that I took called Living with Water at the University of Warwick. So I should probably also share my screen now. This is also my first DialogueON, so very exciting.
We're super excited to have you, Alex.
Thank you. Okay, I think hopefully I'm sharing it correctly this time. Or is it doing, can you guys see yourselves in the background, or is it working?
We can a bit underneath. Can you share your
I think it wasn't giving me, hold on, let me redo this. Sorry for the difficulties, everyone.
It happens.
Okay, window. Oh, got it. There we go. Okay, let me know if
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so following on from kind of what Ruby focused, I thought that for my section, I'd kind of sit between the systems and trade-offs behind water insecurity, and then kind of what we need to think about that, following kind of Ruby's call to action. Okay, so Ruby focused on the fact that we need to plan for water scarcity, of course. This means that this isn't just planning for where the water will come from, but planning how cities grow, how land is used, and how much water industries consume, and critically, whether natural systems are being destroyed in the process. So climate change is, of course, one pressure, but our development decisions determine how vulnerable we become to that pressure. So one key example that I researched in this module that I took is Bangalore, and it's a key example that demonstrates that water insecurity can be produced or amplified by development decisions and not just by climate change itself. So Bangalore is kind of, for some background information, it's India's sort of Silicon Valley, as it's experienced enormous population and economic growth alongside a transformation of the natural systems that supported its water supply, alongside, of course, all their AI development as well. Over the last 5 decades, research from the Indian Institute of Science found a 1,055% increase in built-up area, and the city's water spread area declined by almost 70%. So this matters because when lakes, vegetation, and natural recharge areas are replaced by concrete, the city becomes less able to absorb rainfall and replenish groundwater, and also regulate seasonal water variability as well. So Bangalore's crisis is not just simply a story of not having enough water, but it's also a story of how the city has developed over time. In addition, across the city, that vulnerability is also not experienced equally as well. As water resources become less reliable, peripheral communities can also become increasingly dependent on private water tankers and alternative resources as well. So I think that Bangalore is a really key lesson, because when we plan for water security, we also have to ask ourselves who gets that water and also who bears the consequences when it becomes scarce. This also leads into another part of Bangalore's story that I think is particularly relevant to us, which is technology, as I mentioned, with their AI and data centers. So we often don't really associate AI with water. Of course, we're starting to kind of get that message now in these sustainability discussions. We obviously think of AI as something digital or something that kind of exists in this cloud, but it is absolutely an important piece of physical infrastructure that we need to think about. As of course, data centers require enormous amounts of energy and in many cases, water for cooling, of course. So Planet Trackers found that India ranks second globally in the number of data centers located in areas experiencing extremely high water stress. So water is not only being consumed by households through, drinking, showers, agriculture, rivers, droughts, etc., but it's embedded in the very infrastructure behind the technologies that we are becoming very increasingly dependent on as well. This also now takes me to another example of the United Arab Emirates, which is also another location that I researched, where they are very, very heavily also developing their AI hubs, such as their hyperscale data centers and smart city districts. But one clash with this is that they're very heavily relying on desalination to secure this water supply. And desalination is, of course, really important because as an important piece of technology for the UAE, because it provides 90% of their potable drinking water. So if you're really going to bring it down, to survival, obviously, since we need water to live. This is a really key example because it demonstrates an important sustainability trade-off. So, of course, desalination, as I said, provides fresh water, but it can also produce concentrated brine, which can place pressure on marine ecosystems, specifically the Persian Gulf in this case. So this very technology that helps solve one part of the water crisis can also help create another, environmental pressure if we don't actually consider the whole system. And this also kind of connects to kind of the idea that the ocean is only sort of half of the story. So freshwater security and ocean health are definitely not separate issues. So what we can take from the ocean is that, what we take from the ocean, what we use on land, and what we eventually return to the ocean are all connected. So something we definitely need to think about. I think overall, one of the biggest takeaways that I would add to Ruby's overall argument is that water resilience isn't simply about securing the next liter of water, but about designing our cities, technologies, infrastructure, policies, many more things as well, so that we don't continuously create new water problems while trying to solve the old ones. So what makes water security actually relevant to all of us is that you don't necessarily have to live next to a drying riverbed to be part of the water system, but rather the city and the place that you live in, the food you eat, the technology you use specifically, and the infrastructure that supports your everyday life are all key relationships with water, which is something, as I said, we all really, really need to think about. So the question that we should leave isn't just what will we do when the water runs out, but what are we building today that determines whether it runs out tomorrow? Thank you so much. Oh, there we go.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I think you finished us on a really, really powerful question there that makes us all reflect on our personal behaviors, personal and professional. Ruby, you also raised that a lot of our work and our jobs and our day-to-day life interacts with the water system. And Alex, you picked up on our points where it's even what we consume, it's how we travel to where we need to be. It's where we think to get our drinking water from, but it's also where we think that where the water comes from for our food and what water we're wasting as well as using. We think of the food chain, and I don't think we often think of the water food chain in its own version. And I love that both of you have picked up on similar points in relation to that idea. Thank you so much for your presentation, Alex. That was unbelievable. And for your first dialogue on, I am incredibly impressed. So well done. I would love to hand over now to my colleague Olivia, who's also on the call. She'll be walking us through the dialogue section, and I cannot wait to hear everyone's comments. So over to you, Olivia, to get us started.
Hi everyone. I just like to say thank you so much for the presentations. They were both really interesting, and I think everyone else here also got kind of inspired by some of the topics because I've been reading through the comments in the chat, and there's been a lot of interesting discussions going on. So I was thinking maybe we could first address maybe some of the comments and the topics that were raised by you guys during the uh, presentations, and then we can get on with some of the prompt questions that we prepared earlier. Something that I thought was interesting from Monem is that you said climate change is basically a water crisis in disguise. I think that's an interesting like link. I don't know. What do you guys would you like to elaborate more on that? I think it's really interesting that you guys, linked water to a lot of different global topics and issues. So I have a few questions if we want to maybe discuss. So the first one is, in your guys' opinion, how is climate change reshaping global and local water security, and what are other challenges that could lie ahead?
Well, I can jump in here. It's hard to pinpoint and predict specifically what we'll face ahead. Globally, there's so many different ecosystems that get covered in that topic. But building off of more of what I've seen in the comments and then also Alex's presentation and all of the conversation, it is important to think of climate change and the water issue together, but also on a multidisciplinary way of looking at it. So it's going to affect health and public health. It's going to affect food supply. It will affect engineers, educators, everyone. We're all in it together. And so we're facing a lot of global shortages, and we're seeing that right now, especially in the summers in the northern hemisphere, and then in the southern hemisphere probably will reverse. And it's going to be a very interesting year, and it's kind of the beginning of some major extremes. So what I've seen on a global scale from the engineering side of things is we're going to have longer shoulder seasons, which is like spring and falls, and then really intense hits of winter and summer, and that can increase collectively the temperature, but that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any water. It might be all of the year's water in like a series of months rather than spread out. So it just becomes this planning for larger emergencies, figuring out where storage is, and that really depends on the location specifically. I think where we can get in trouble is trying to come up with a universal solution, because it also limits people's actions. So if we focus locally, even on small local, like a smaller town versus the whole county, versus the whole country, if we can bring it back to that specific spot, it's going to be great. I also think we really need to bring in Indigenous and local knowledge. They are the people who have had thousands and thousands of years of understanding and being stewards to the land. And if we are able to integrate their voices in as well, it's going to be really important. So that was a very long thing.
No, I agree. I think obviously they are very interlinked issues, and there are a lot of things that rely on water security. I don't see anyone with their hands up. Yeah, do you want to go ahead
I
and
can ask a follow. Can I also
yeah.
ask a follow-up? Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to do my hands, and I know someone else on the call put their hand up. No, I added a question to the chat, but I was going to bounce on Ruby and just say, how can we frame this, what you said, to policymakers? Because we see policymakers pulled in so many different directions with so many different advocates and professions saying, this is more important, this is more important, this is important, more important. And how can we get that message that water underlies a lot of those existing problems across? Maybe is it to do with like the framing or the narrative of how we advocate for water? Is it to do with kind of how we explain the situation to public knowledge?
Yeah, sorry, you cut out a little bit on my end, but let me know if I'm missing any pieces. I think it's really important to emphasize that everyone, no matter where you are in the world, deserves and should have clean drinking water. So that alone should hopefully be incentive for policymakers to be excited about it. However, of course, we've seen, lots of policymakers focus a little bit more on money, which we can't quite drink, unfortunately. And so I think it's getting really comfortable with knowing your own local water supply. So where is your water coming from, and what are the strategies that your community is taking to protect it? And a lot of times, just in finding those two questions, you'll start to see areas that are being missed in policymaking and then advocating for those. It puts a lot of pressure on the individual, though. I do want to emphasize that it is these bigger organizations and it is these climate policymakers that are the voices that are being helped, but it is public pressure that helps push those people to make those decisions. So I think on a small scale, it's understanding your own personal water and where things are coming from, but then too, like making sure your neighbor understands and making sure your friends know, and just continuing to have that education and keep advocating for yourself and your own local water supply. And then hopefully like that keeps pushing policymakers. But it is frustrating to push against those people sometimes.
Yeah, so can I also come in?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. Looking at this topic that we are all talking about, I'll narrow it to where I'm based, Northern Ghana precisely. So looking at the issue of how we can frame the agency of water decision to policy making in my region or where I'm based. So looking at this, I would say that we need to put water at the center of food security, because without water, looking at where I'm coming from, we have only one rainy season, and there are times that the rate at which we expect the rain patterns or the volumes of water to be in place, it doesn't prolong. And as a result of that, water becomes a very major challenge for smallholder farmers for some of their farm produce. And as a result of that, food security comes to play there. Because without water for their farm lands, they will not be able to get enough food. And as a result of that, it's causing a lot of challenges. So water decision needs to be linked directly to food production and irrigation and climate smart agriculture, and also looking at livestock development and rural livelihoods comes into play in this. So I would urge that we look at this angle with this, and also connecting water security to disaster risk reduction. Because recently in our capital city, a lot of communities were being affected by water, by floods. And as a result of that, it rendered more than 1,000 people homeless. And it affected a whole lot of productivity, and also with scarcity with people. And also with this, I think we'll need to look at it from a holistical approach, integrating early warning systems and anticipatory action that would go a long way to flood management and drought preparedness and water resource planning. So with this, it will go a long way to helping the people. And another point I would want to elaborate much more would be on making water a climate adaptation priority. Why do I say so? Because when we look at this with climate change intensifying uncertainty around rainfall and water availability. So with this, it would help us a lot if water should be treated as a core pillar of Ghana's climate adaptation strategy. It will help us. I have a lot of points, but I want to pause for others to also bring in. I know as I'm bringing these points out, it would help others to also come out with more points. But I want to add 2 more points before I hold for others to come in. So we need to do a last mile into water decision making. Because with this, if nations prioritize their water policies, this will go a long way in impacting the vulnerable communities. And also policy makers needs to strengthen community participation in water governance, and that will go a long way in ensuring that women and youth and smallholder farmers as one of the traditional authorities. So with this point, I would just say that we need to localize the context. Localizing the context would go a long way for the people to come on board, and also use of water as the connecting thread across climate priorities, because we can't do without prioritizing water as one of the main things for us. So we need to look at all this. So I want to pause and also to reiterate that Northern Ghana does not have, it has a lot of major challenges, and water link and resilience challenges forms one of the greatest obstacles for us. So as a country, I would want to entreat that we look at how we can, not only my country, but globally as a whole, we need to factor in important opportunities to demonstrate how integration of water governance and early warning systems and anticipatory actions can move communities from responding to climate disasters. So with this, it will go a long way in preparing for and preventing avoidable losses. So I want to pause here for others to also come in. But my last point would be on the localization of the context. If we really prioritize the localization, it will go a long way, because a lot of local folks, due to what we present to them, the understanding of it, once they get it onto their local context, it will go a long way for us. So I would urge that we need to prioritize this localization of everything that we are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I love all your comments, and I know you have more to share as well. So if you would like to, you're welcome to email our contact at open-dialogues.org email address, and we can share your comments with Ruby, with Alex, and we can put you all in touch to have a further discussion. Perhaps I can come on. We have quite a few people with their hands up. So can I ask you all, the next 3 speakers, to stick to around 2 to 3 minutes, and then we can cover everyone. I'm going to come to Abdulrazik Yakambu, I think I have on my screen. Are you available?
Hello. Can I?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, fantastic. Please go ahead. If you can share your comments in 2 minutes, that would be fantastic.
Good afternoon. I think I'll go straight to the point. Okay, this is Abdulrazak Yakubu speaking from Bauchi State, Nigeria. So yeah, from our discussion, I understand that also from experience working with communities in northern Nigeria, we increasingly see that water sustainability cannot be separated from climate adaptation. Because communities don't normally experience 2 streams within maybe the same landscape. That's one, prolonged dry period that reduce water availability, then normally followed by intense rainfall and flooding that contaminate water sources and damages infrastructure. So the challenge, therefore, is not only increasing access to water. We need to invest in water systems that are climate resilience, also systems that protect catchment and recharge areas. We also need to use local and indigenous knowledge and involve communities in managing the resources they depend on. So for organizations like ours, the question we normally answer is how we move from emergency responses to anticipatory and maybe community-led, because the last speaker talked about localization and what have you. Then normally in the state where we are in, normally in the country as a whole in Nigeria, we have a climate adaptation plan that has been developed, which normally talk about all those things that the only problem is implementation level. And now we are trying to engage state governments also to adopt the national adaptation plan into maybe respective step adaptation plans, looking at the budget constraint and what have you. So now the call is how government and development partners can move beyond just constructing water infrastructure toward investing in climate resilient water system that maybe incorporate watershed protection, groundwater monitoring, early warnings, community governance, and also long-term maintenance. So we are trying this to our best, and we try to engage the government also and let the people at the grassroots understand this are what we are working for, and we're also looking for development partners to key into this and make it a reality. So I think for this purpose, this is just my contribution. I say thank you and over from here.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful, and I do agree that it does require a lot of maybe applications and preparation for the future. So after that, should we move on to, I think Shadrach Gwari is next, if you'd like to share your thoughts?
Yes, this is Shadrach Gwari, and my context, I'm speaking on behalf of Zimbabwe, and mainly southern part of Zimbabwe, which is Masvingo province. My talk on water decision making and resilience is mainly looking at issues to do with financing, which means there's a lot of technology and a lot of information in terms of water management, but we do not have the infrastructure to capture much of the water. So my suggestion is that if globally we have organizations that are financing issues to do with water harvesting, issues to do with dams construction, issues to do with irrigation infrastructure development, drip irrigation, then from the traditional side, I was looking at the issues of community involvement in terms of wetlands management. In Zimbabwe, we have lots of wetlands, but due to climate change, farmers are migrating to dry areas into the wetlands. By so doing, they are destroying the wetlands. So again here, if you are to involve the traditional leaders, the government, local government, rural district councils, then start supporting and moving people away from the wetlands, because it is in these wetlands where most of the river streams starts. And if the wetlands dry up, it means we are going to dry up the area. Then again, we look at the watershed management. The watershed is the area where most of the rivers or the streams starts. We come up with committees that are formed by the traditional leaders, which then manage the watershed in their own areas in terms of trees management, deforestation management, and gully reclamation, replanting of new trees. Then we also have to look at the issues of water harvesting, starting from household level to say, I have a concept where I say, it's my water. We are saying when we receive the rains at household level, let's start harvesting water from the rooftops, from our fields, what we call field water harvesting. That all that water that runs to the Indian Ocean is captured while it is within Zimbabwe or while it's still at the farmer's household. Our main rain season is from November to December. from November to March each year, and you find some years have got very good rains, normal to above normal rains, and some rain in season like the coming one, 2026, 2027, we are being told it's going to be a super El Nino, which usually brings dry conditions, low rainfall. So if farmers know about water harvesting technologies, they could be still using the rainfall that they would have harvested in the previous season. Last but not least, again, let's start supporting the issues of drilling boreholes that are supported by solar system, so that people have to supplement their cropping with some irrigation. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think you raised some important points. And just being aware of the time. So the next person in line, I think, to speak is Peter Nampala. And as a reminder, just because we don't have that much time, if you could just keep yourself to 2 minutes.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Peter Joseph Nampara from Tanzania. Something that I would like maybe to argue, purposely on the water sustainability. Maybe can take an example from our country. The problem is about the scarcity of water, but the government uh, have invested much efforts in order to ensure that the sustainability of water it is available, and also the community benefit. The thing that maybe I would like to argue is about investing or making the national water grids. This national water grid, it can increase accessibility of water maybe to the area of the local community, because you can see there are some area have access to water, especially those are nearby with river, lakes, and dams. So the other community tended to be affected, and they did not get much water. So for example, within our country, the governments have been established the project which is known as National Grids Water. This will be distributed until to the area of the local, to the village, in order to ensure that water is supplied widely within the country. That is my point.
Thank you. I think, yeah, it is very important to address water inequality and accessibility, and how this can really affect different communities and individuals as well as their lived experience. Because, I mean, as we're finding out, water is very important, especially in rural areas. And I think next to speak is Madel Maudi.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Hello. Yeah. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate everyone, especially the organizer, for having this conversation. This is very interesting one because especially for example, like Philippines, we are already like overpopulated really in terms of the area that we have. But the only good thing about our country is we are surrounded by water. So it doesn't, I mean, but it doesn't mean we're surrounded with water, but we have enough source of water that is potable. But we're glad that we have that, and we recognize that problem also. But I cannot speak in behalf of the rest of the people of the Philippines. But I for a common cause, common cries, we actually have this problem that as much as we wanted to address the access to have a potable water, there's this other problem that we really need to focus in the environment. I mean, the polluted water, for example, like the plastics is everywhere. And then I think so another thing is that the access to health, like a checkup, because there are Like this time, the case of dengue is actually rising. In the case of malaria is also rising. So the case of what do you call this, like diarrhea that encounter because there's not that enough source of water that is clean for the children, and then the infant also for their bottles, for their making their formula. It's actually a problem. But as much as if we go to the market, there's this available water, but it is in a distilled water in a plastic bottle. And then after that, there's no proper disposal. So I think moving forward, I'd like to focus on three parts. One is that as much as we wanted to, if we are really serious about this, it is important from here on that we can organize ourselves to have a technical working group that focus on identifying first the priority issues that we need to set priority first, because we all know we have unique experience, unique problem. But in terms of approach and practices, I'd like to commend the idea of my fellow learners here. They cited the traditional knowledge. I think it's good to point to have that one. And then second is that the identification of as we wanted to address, campaign for the sustainable water, we should not forget how to educate them in terms of proper disposal, because we sometimes at the height of emergency or needs, we can some point we can get potable water from the ocean. So but all our plastic now is in the ocean, and that's another problem. Okay, another thing is that last one is I'd like to invite the open dialogue to think of maybe we can collaborate, and then we can bring the program and then ideas to my country. And then I'd like to with my organizations, I'm willing to facilitate, mobilize, and identify areas where we can work together. And I'd like to have you guys here in the Philippines, particularly in the coastal, like in southern Mindanao. Don't worry, it's safe. I can assure you with your safety. Yeah. So yeah, I think you know what? I'm actually really really happy tonight, even though we have different time and different in time. So I need to wake up for this because this is very important to me. You guys is very important because of all your program hit my inbox, but I cannot get enough, I cannot give or pay attention to the time. So I'm so sorry about it. But yeah, I am the CEO, by the way, of my organization is Provo the Skills Bridge. This is to equip young people. So, and this one is a unique module to have. And thank you so much for having me today. I'm Maudi Maadil, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciated your insights, and I think the environmental factor is very important to
Oh,
consider.
can I have last one?
Yeah,
Last one.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think this is everybody's talking about this, the pack silica. So now
Mhm.
we are affected of this. Now, Philippines is they're going to build up, site locations in one of the very known and popular areas in the Philippines, particularly in Clark. So, as much as we wanted to make a statement that we're against it, but Philippines already signed to be part of it. I'm so sad about it. So
Mhm.
yeah, hope we can do something about it also. But even a small talk about maybe a conversation with the people from the community. So
Yes,
yeah,
for sure.
thank you.
And yeah, thank you so much for your contribution. I think as a team, we're always also welcome and opening to collaborations and meeting new people. So it's really interesting to hear your insights. And you can always reach out to us. I think our president just put our email in the chat if anyone really wants to get in touch. And now, with the last few minutes, we just like to have a few last comments from our two speakers. I don't know which of you wants to go first, but yeah, Ruby, if you just want to go ahead and have some concluding notes.
Oh, I was gonna say Alex had her hand up first, so
Oh,
Alex,
okay.
go first. I'll go after.
No, you go first. I'm sure like mine was kind of a less relevant comment to what was just discussed. So if yours was more relevant, then go for it.
Okay, well, I am the same. I want to have this conversation like all day. It's only 9 a.m. where I am, so I'm like, let's go. But I know you guys are in the later time zones. But I won't be able to cover everything in the short period that we have, but I really appreciate all of the comments. I think everyone has incredible feedback to share, and you guys are all already huge community leaders in water advocacy and climate change discussions. A couple points that I just noted was, yeah, putting water in the forefront of everything. It is something that as a universal thing we all need. And it is really in the center of health, mental health. It's in the center of food and food security, as well as policy, education, climate change, and so on. And then, yeah, to touch on pollution and plastic issues, and that goes through so many different things. Bringing in cultural and traditional knowledge to local areas is so important, as you guys have all highlighted. I also think that it's really important when taking on different things, and why I think it's so great to have localized solutions is because there is so much culture and human behavior that gets linked to water. I mean, water is deep within so many different religions, but also in just cultural norms. So, for example, drinking out of a plastic water bottle may feel safer and like happier for people if they haven't had the ability to trust in the distribution system. We have places in the US that really struggle with that. And even if the water meets all of the requirements for testing, there's still a large group of people who will only drink from plastic water. And then vice versa. There's, places where maybe the water isn't great through the distribution system and we're having health issues there. So on and so on. It just becomes such a complicated and layered problem that can feel really daunting. And I just want to emphasize that all of you are already making so many strides to helping your communities just by being here and also by sharing your knowledge, and continue to do that. And even though it does feel daunting, like we can all make a difference in how we are able to get clean drinking water. We all deserve clean drinking water. The world has clean drinking water. We just need to protect it and make sure that it's continuing into the future for future generations. Okay, over to you, Alex. I'm sorry, I took a lot of time.
No. This was kind of a comment that I thought of earlier. But I just to first say I 100% agree that local kind of action is definitely needed, especially with Indigenous communities who do just in general they know more and have had much more experience. So, but I was gonna say kind of relates to what I was saying, that a lot of the bigger companies, we all know that they get away with way too much that they shouldn't be getting away with. But I think that one thing that I guess communities somehow should be trying to advocate for is that there's kind of little or no frameworks regarding like the actual disclosure of industrial water usage. So from these big companies, and I think that there's then a much bigger lack of accountability from them, and that's not being accounted for, and people aren't kind of telling them like this is not okay. And there's just no like kind of specific framework. So I think creating or people should be advocating for like a legal mechanism or legal framework, rather than kind of this like uncoordinated market expansion that these companies are getting away with essentially. So I think that it's a bit hard for just to say, oh, local communities should be advocating for this, because a lot of the time it doesn't actually get passed through, or they just get ignored, because obviously these companies have so much power. But I think that that's just something that communities need to think about and figure out ways to really advocate for, because where most of the damage is these big, you have Google, you have Microsoft, you have, I mean, Amazon, I could list so many that even claim that they're being sustainable water usage and so on, but like that's also an element of, I could go into ages of, I can go to so much discussion about like greenwashing. It's such an interesting topic, but just that's something that or water washing, I don't know what you would call that, but yeah, I think that that's just something. I went a bit off topic there, but that needs to be that was it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, both of you, for giving our final comments. I'm afraid they are our final comments because we are now 3 minutes over time, which is such a shame because I feel like this conversation, as both Ruby and Maori said, could have gone on for the rest of the evening or afternoon. But sadly, unfortunately, we all have to go and actually do our action in response to this. So I want to say a massive, massive thank you to both of our speakers, Ruby and Alex, for preparing their thoughts in advance, for being here during the discussion, for engaging with all of our participants. Thank you so much. Both of them have added their LinkedIns in the chat, I have seen, if you scroll back through, but we can also share both of their LinkedIns in our follow-up email, which will be sent later this week. And then you can connect, ask future questions, have future discussions one-on-one or in the future with any other possibilities. Also, thank you so much to everyone who joined this call and made the time to have this discussion. We have repeatedly said how important this conversation is and how complex, multifaceted, challenging, but hopeful this discussion can be. So I really appreciate all of your time and thought. It's unbelievably valuable, and because of your continued attendance in these kind of events, we can keep having them. All it requires is time, hopefully nothing else. Time and a bit of brain power. With that, yeah, of course, Olivia, go ahead.
No, I just quickly wanted to say thank you to everyone who spoke and also to everyone who left comments. We did manage to see them and we noted a lot of them down. So just because we didn't reply to them doesn't mean that we didn't see all of your guys' comments and thoughts as the discussions and dialogues were going on. Because everyone contributed really interesting other topics as well that maybe we didn't exactly touch on. I just wanted to add that as well.
No, you make a really good point, and all of those comments and questions and thoughts and background experience will go into our summary. So please don't feel like you've been ignored or just put on our notes document that will be forgotten about. As Olivia said, incredibly valuable. Just a couple of reminders or notices maybe then. So I will be sending an email later this week with that summary, with a link to the YouTube recording. So if you'd like to go back to any part of the conversation with both of our speakers, with their contact details, with their LinkedIn, and also with a couple more links to other activities and work that we do at ODIF. And when I have the topic for September sorted, we will reach out in touch. We will get in touch shortly with the information for the next month if you would also like to join. Please follow our social media, our mailing list. You can join that with the links that Susanna has shared to the chat. But if you have any problems, just reach out to us on our email at contact@open-dialogues.org. We would love to be in contact with you. I will also be sending around a feedback form. So if you have any suggestions for topics you would like to see in the future, please share that either with the form or on email, or alternatively, if you have a particular background or topic you are passionate to speak on, we would love to be in contact with you. If you have an idea following this water resilience sustainability conversation, but slightly different perspective, always welcome. We are a very open organization and we would love to have new connections with new people. Now that the notices are open and done, I will say thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon, evening. We will see you next month. And I hope we are all managed to continue these conversations and these thoughts and these considerations in other parts of our lives. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you also so
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
God bless
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.